What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a magical musketeer deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this is one of my favorite decks to play. And this is actually a going second version of magical musketeer, so we can get the maximum effects off of magical musketeer max, which is an insanely powerful link monster. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Magical Musketeer Caspar. This card is a definite 3 of in the build, and all of your Magical Musketeer monsters actually share a common effect that during either player's turn, you can activate Magical Musket spell or trap cards from your hand. And if a spell or trap card is activated in this card's column, you get a unique effect. And this card's unique ability is that you can add a Magical Musket card from your deck to your hand, but not a card with the same name as the activated card, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Starfire. Starfire is a definite 3 of as well, and this card has a great ability that if a spell or trap card is activated in this card's column, you actually get to special summon out a level 4 lower magical musket monster from your deck in defense position, which is a great effect to be able to just instantly get a magical musket monster onto your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Magical Musket Kid Brave. Kid Brave is really good because if a spell or trap card is activated in this card's column, you get to discard a Magical Musket card to be able to draw 2 cards, which just helps you dig into the deck for more cards. We then play 2 copies of Magical Musketeer Doc. Doc is really good at recovering cards from the graveyard because it has the ability that if a spell or trap card is activated in this card's column, then you get to add a Magical Musket card from your graveyard to your hand. We then play a single copy of Calamity. Calamity is a really good one in the deck, but you really only need a single copy of this card. It has the ability that if a spell or trap card is activated in this card's column, then you get to target a Magical Musket monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position, which is a pretty good effect. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters. This card is just a great hand trap to stop your opponent from touching the deck. This card is absolutely amazing in this deck and just a super helpful card in this particular build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin is really good in this deck because it makes it basically a 39 card deck, which is absolutely amazing for this build. And this card is great in this deck as a one-of to be able to basically get free effects of any of your Magical Musketeer monsters. I love that about this card, and just being able to draw a card in the deck is amazing. We then play a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster is great as a one-of in this particular build just to deal with your opponent's back row. We then play a single copy of Change of Heart. Change of Heart is amazing in this deck so that we can go in for game by taking our opponent's monsters and basically using them against them, which is really nice. We then play a single copy of Mind Control. Mind Control is a great one-of in this build as well, to basically just use this card to take an opponent's monster and use it for link material or anything that we need. We then play a single copy of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is great in this deck as a one-of to be able to make a copy of Utopia Double. When you make Utopia Double, you basically detach a material from Utopia Double, add this card from deck to hand, make a copy of Utopia on top of Utopia Double. The Utopia comes out at 5,000 attack points. You can attack your opponent, detach a material off the Utopia, drop Double or Nothing, and then go back in for 10,000 attack points. You can only attack monsters with that Utopia, which is not that big of a deal, because if your opponent has a monster with 2,000 or less attack points on the field, you can actually OTK your opponent, which is absolutely amazing if that monster's in attack position. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave just to stop our opponent from hand trapping us where we're going in for all of our plays. We then play 2 copies of Triple Tactical Talents. Triple Tactical Talents is really good in this deck because if our opponent does hand trap us or activate a monster effect during our turn, we can either draw 2 cards, take control of one of our opponent's monsters, or look at our opponent's hand and choose 1 card from it and shuffle it into the deck, which is absolutely amazing. We then play 3 copies of one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck. And that's going to be 3 copies copies of Link into the Brains. This card is amazing for this deck. It lets you special summon one monster from your hand, but negate its effects. Then, immediately its effect resolves, you Link summon a Link monster using monsters you control as a material, which you're always going to special summon out one of your magical musket monsters and then link into a copy of Max. Then it has the ability that the Link monster, Link summon, cannot be negated, and also your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a monster is Link summoned this way, basically protecting your copy of Max for its effects to go off, which is just absolutely amazing, and make sure that it hits the field. And if a Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect while this card's in the graveyard, you can banish this card to be able to add one monster from your graveyard to your hand with the same original type as one of those destroyed monsters, which is a pretty good effect because our copy of Max is a light fiend, just like the rest of our magical musket monsters, which is really nice. We then play 3 copies of Raigeki. Since this is a going second build, this card is just amazing to be able to normal summon out one of our magical musket monsters, drop a copy of Raigeki, get a plus off of our magical musket monster, and destroy our opponent's monsters. This card is great as a 3-of in the deck, and this deck does have a little bit of trouble dealing with monsters with high attack points, and this is a great way to do it. We then play 3 copies of Magical Musket Cross Domination. This card is amazing as a 3-of in the deck and has the ability to control a magical musket monster. You can target a face-up monster on the field until the end of the turn, change its attack and defense to 0. Also, it has its effects negated, which is insane because if you have a magical musket monster on the field, this card is a hand trap that you can activate during either player's turn, which is amazing directly from your hand. So that's it for these spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of Crooked Crown. Crooked Crown is a really good one of the deck that basically makes it so you're not so reliant on your normal summon, because during the main phase, you can special summon out a magical musket monster from your hand. And if you do, and your opponent's main monster zone in that card's current column is unused, then you can basically make it so they can't use it until the end of this turn, which is a pretty good effect. We then play a single copy of Dancing Needles. Dancing Needle is really good as a 1-of. It's not so good this format because we're not in a format currently that banishes cards from the graveyard, but it's a really good 1-of right now that if you control a magical musket monster, you can target 3 cards in the graveyard and banish them. We then play 3 copies of Desperado. Desperado is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. It has a super simple effect that if you control a magical musket monster, target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. We then play 3 copies of Magical Musket Last Stand. Last Stand is our counter trap for the deck that has a great effect that when your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control a magical musket monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. This card is absolutely amazing as a 3-of in the deck and just really stops your opponent's spells and traps in their tracks, which is amazing. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 3 copies of Magical Musketeer Max. This card is amazing. This card is so powerful in the deck. It has the ability to put any Magical Musketeer monster in this card that is a level 8 or lower, so any of our main deck ones can actually link into this link 1. And this card has an insane effect. It's going to get you so many different pluses and has a great effect. If this card is link summoned, you can activate one of these effects to add magical musket spells or traps with different names from your deck to your hand up to the number of monsters that your opponent controls, or special summon magical musketeer monsters with different names from your deck up to the number of spells or traps that your opponent controls, and you can only use effect this card once per turn, and during either player's turn, you can activate magical musket spells or traps from your hand. This card is insane, the amount of pluses that you're going to be able to get off of this card. If your opponent has 5 back row cards and you link into this card with Link into the Brains, you're usually going to be able to get a search 5 off this card, which is amazing to be able to just instantly throw 5 magical musketeers onto your side of the field. If your opponent controls 5 monsters on the field, you can just summon out this card off of basically a normal summon and get 5 searches of your spells or traps, which is amazing the amount of card advantages you're going to get off this card. Usually you're going to get 2 or 3 off this card, but it's still an amazing link monster to get a +2 or 3 off of. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just really good in this deck because we play so many different attributes in the extra deck to be able to pop cards on the field. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. We can make this card fairly easily in this deck, and it's a pretty good card to be able to put on your side of the field to have monster negates with. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff, one copy of Selene. We do have a really easy way to actually step into Selene in this deck, and it's a really awesome card with the amount of spells that we're playing in this deck. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is a great one-of in this deck to be able to pop spells or traps on the field. One copy of the Light Charmer. The Light Charmer is great as a one-of as well in this deck to basically step into your copy of Selene. It's a really awesome card in this deck. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. Masquerena is a good one-of in this particular build to be able to step into your copy of your Nightmare Unicorn during your opponent's turn so you can spin cards. We then play a single copy of Exciton Knight to be able to destroy board. This card is amazing in this deck as a one-of. One copy of Baguska. Baguska is really good in this deck to be able to play in defense position to basically stall out your opponent. One copy of number 39 Utopia Double. This card is amazing in the deck. You basically just summon out this card, detach a material, search double or nothing, make a copy of Utopia on top of it, and once you do make that copy of Utopia on top of it, this Utopia comes out at 5,000 attack points. You can then attack your opponent with this card, detach a material to negate the attack, drop double or nothing, and then attack again into an opponent's monster for 10,000, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of S39 Utopia the Lightning. This card is just in case you draw into your copy of double or nothing, you can still make a really powerful monster in this deck. This card is amazing as a one-of in this build to basically step into this card off your copy of your number 39 Utopia and have a monster that can attack for 5,000. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a magical musket deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's a really awesome deck to basically make your copy of Max, especially with this going second build. It's just absolutely amazing to be able to play. So anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.